And joining us tonight also is Justin Coussoule, and Justin is running against one of our most favorite persons called Boehner, I think his name is. So, Justin, how about the kind words here? Justin.
You know, we get to go to a lot of these picnics, and I gotta say, sometimes the spreads are a little unusual, and the choices. But this is about as classic American as you get. It was delicious. I'm over there eating a plate full of food. It was excellent. I just want to say a few things about the race, which I try to spread the word, and this is, I think, helpful for people to tell their friends and family. You know, the big thing about this race is viability, right? We talked about who's going to beat John Boehner, right? Well, I like to try to bust a few myths and ask other people to spread the word. You know, I think the first myth is that this is a Republican district. It's not a Republican district. It's not a Democratic district either, but it's an overwhelmingly independent district. By numbers, it's 220,000 independents, 104,000 Dems, 99,000 Republicans. The second myth is that John Boehner is overwhelmingly beloved by the majority of the voters. Well, that's an easy one in groups like this. But you know, if you look at the Republican primary in May, he had two challengers for the first time ever. The only time he's ever had even one was in 2000. And in a closed primary, we have closed primaries here in Ohio, 1 out of 6 Republican primary voters went into the voting booth and cast their vote for someone other than their 20-year incumbent minority leader, speaker to be John Boehner. 16% of Republican primary voters voted against him. So, you know, my takeaway there is he doesn't even have his base shored up at this point. Even they're losing faith in John Boehner. The last myth is that Democrats can't compete in this district. Well, for that one, just look at Ted Strickland in 2006. He got 44% in the 8th district. And in 2008, Rich Cordray, he got 44%. And they targeted 40%. And I use them as examples because they're well-funded, organized, professional Democratic campaigns that did 5 points better than they shot for. So just imagine what a well-funded, organized, professional Democratic campaign that actually shoots for 51% might do. We might just get there. You know, the other thing people say is, well, Justin, doesn't John Boehner win 2/3, 1/3, cycle after cycle for 20 years? He's been in 10 terms. Yeah, that's true. He does, but you know, he's never faced a real challenger in 10 terms. People haven't had a choice. And the good news is that there's a base, because cycle after cycle, 33-34% of the electorate votes against John Boehner. We could run a mop and a bucket with a D after it, and we'd probably get 33%, right? So there's a base to build up from. We're not starting from zero in this race like a lot of people think. You know, and I think the other thing is, like most people, I value my vote. And if I go into the voting booth and it's the first time I see a candidate's name, the Democratic candidate, I might just vote for the devil I know, John Boehner, versus the person I never heard of. So the challenge in this race, and what we haven't done in 20 years, is to get the Democratic name out, the challenger, and give people 1 or 2 takeaways about that person so they're comfortable with voting for an alternative. They're comfortable to say, okay, here's somebody, he's qualified, he's a good guy, I heard about him, a few people told me about him, I can vote that guy, I can vote for somebody other than John Boehner this year. I just want to say briefly, people say, you know, if you think it's tough running against John Boehner, try being represented by him, right? This isn't a crowd I need to convince, and a lot of people are starting to see some of the numbers with the ad about the golf and that stuff I talk about too. You know, I think it's about, as much as it's about policy and politics in this race, it's also about public service. We don't have a public servant right now representing the 8th district. We got a professional golfer and a coin-operated one at that. And you know, then you can just go on from there on all the issues. I don't think there's a single issue that working middle-class people care about and think about that John Boehner is aligned with. You know, his priorities lie with the corporate CEOs and the super rich who he's out on the golf course with raising money. And of course, all that money, he doesn't spend it in his own race. He gives it to other Republican candidates. That's why he's the minority leader. He bought his position. And he'll buy the speaker's chair if they win the majority and he wins re-election. It's certainly the way he's moved up the ladder. People say, Justin, why did you get in this race? You're not a career politician, your background. You know, why in the world would you want to take this fight on? I think we get the government we deserve. And my wife and our children and our neighbors and their children and people across the 8th district and all of you, we deserve a lot better than John Boehner. You know, I think this race is about what we all learned in 5th grade civics class, that a government of, by, and for the people doesn't just happen. We have to fight for it. We have to earn it. I'm in this race because of what I learned at West Point, maybe more importantly because I believe in what I learned at West Point. Leaders of character choose the harder right over the easier wrong. They do the right thing even when no one's watching. And public service is synonymous with selfless service. And I'm in this race because we get the government we deserve, and we deserve better. The last thing I want to say is, you know, how people ask me, okay, Justin, how can we help you? How can we help a candidate who's in a fight like this? You can spread the word. You can tell 5 friends, family members, neighbors about me, about the campaign, forward our email, our website. You can join Facebook, Twitter. You can wear a t-shirt around town or put a bumper sticker on your car or a yard sign in your yard and encourage other people to do the same. Don't underestimate the power of word of mouth in the district for this race or any race. You can certainly donate your time, volunteer. We need people that make phone calls for us, to knock doors, to stuff letters. We need all those things. The ODP is doing tremendous things across the state, but they are very upfront about saying, look, our targets in the 8th district are 40-45% for Ted Strickland and Rich Cordray and Lee Fisher. Well, that doesn't win the race for somebody who needs to get 51% in the district. So we have a gap that we have to make up with our own field work. We have to do our own phone calling and our own door knocking. And then the other thing, of course, is to contribute money. And the big thing about where does all that money go, Justin? Well, we need to get the word out, like I said, primarily in advertising. They say you need to see or hear a name 7 times before you remember it. So we need to get my name and face out in front of the voters 7 times. And I think for a lot of those people, they need one takeaway. Justin Coussoule, oh, he's that West Point guy, that veteran, all right, I like him. Or Justin Coussoule, he's that guy from that blue-collar family. His dad was a roofer, talks about need to make things in this country again, refocus on jobs and the economy. Okay, I like him. For some people, it might be Justin Coussoule, he's got a pretty wife. Okay, I like him. Whatever it is, 7 times, one takeaway, 51%. It's as simple and as complicated as that. I know everybody's hot. I just want to leave you with one last thought. One of the many lessons in leadership from West Point is that good officers, good leaders, march to the sound of the guns. They arrive on the battlefield and they don't delay or deliberate. They head to the decisive point on the battle space and they fight to win. They march to the sound of the guns. The guns have been raging in the 8th District for 20 years now. It's time for all of us to answer their call. Thanks so much, everybody.